Hello world, welcome to Americana. I'm Willie Montague.
And I'm Shakea Hinton.
Well, tonight we're cutting through spin, shutting down excuses, and diving into the conversations the country is actually having. Seatbelts on, folks. It's about to get real. This is Americana. Well, if you got the seatbelt on, let's take it on here. Trump says Americans are doing great, so why do Democrats hate good news? Environmental racism. This one is going to definitely be interesting. Did civil rights laws go too far, or is this another political overreach? And then to bring it on home on this Good Thursday, platinum and gold cards starting at $1 million per person.
Ciao.
Whew, that is going to be a topic. I can't wait to get to that.
Ciao.
But nonetheless, let's get into what President Donald John Trump has said. President Trump says Americans are doing great, jobs stabilizing, prices leveling, confidence rising. But instead of celebrating progress, we already know Democrats are scrambling to convince the country everything is falling. Are you scrambling?
I'm certainly not scrambling. However, I think the Republican Party is scrambling to shift this narrative and frame something that's not true. I mean, if that wasn't true, then Donald Trump wouldn't have been going on this tour around the country, and he wouldn't be upset with those within his camp because they're not amplifying this false narrative that he is making America great again.
Shakea.
Yes, sir.
He is making America great again, but I want you to answer this question for me.
Sure.
What is it that's not true about it, though? Like, what is it that's a false narrative?
The false narrative is that gas, not even just gas prices, because gas prices have gone down a bit. I will give y'all that. However, the cost of living has not gone down. In a couple of weeks, not even a couple of weeks, today, the Senate did not pass the vote to extend the ACA subsidies. So that means in a couple of weeks, the American people are going to also feel it in their health care coverage.
So the ACA
I can go on and on.
Is the Affordable Care Act.
I can go on and on.
Obamacare.
I can go on. And now Trump wants to call it Trump Care.
I'm all for it.
He's just so upset.
So let's talk about what has happened, because I want to give this.
Please.
She told me to come with
Yes.
stats.
Let's go.
So I got unemployment is still low, around 3.8%.
That's a lie.
Wages are rising, especially for lower income workers.
That is
more Americans are
kinda true.
working. Labor participation is climbing.
That is a lie.
Consumers' confidence is rising going into the new year.
That's extremely
Manufacturing
big lie.
orders are up in several key industries. Small business optimism, is improving for the first time in months.
That's a lie.
Supply chain delays have dropped to near pre-pandemic levels.
Not true.
And home prices have stabilized in many major markets.
Now, where did you get this from?
These facts came right
ChatGPT?
This was not ChatGPT. These was facts that would go, because I even myself pulled it up. I think it was not New York Times. It was is it BBC?
What
Yes.
year was this, Willie?
This is now.
This is in 2025.
See, this is why we said
Are
they're
you sure?
scrambling.
Not
to
scrambling.
convince
I am
us that this
asking
is not
questions.
true.
So if that is true, then why are the American people, when they are asked by various news outlets, how has it been under President Trump's administration? A lot of folks, Willie, are saying that they are not identifying with what you just read off.
I agree with what President Trump said. Affordability in itself is a hoax. Let me put it this way.
But he ran on that.
But let me put it this way. I'm a stickler for people understanding about economics, however you want to say it. And this is one thing that I understand. We have a supply and demand. We all learned this probably growing up. If you go to the store and 3 lemons come out to $1, you need to have $1 to pay for the 3 lemons. You don't go in there expecting to get 4 lemons knowing that you only have $1. Our economy is where it needs to be for anyone to be able to thrive. What we have now is a consumer-heavy type of economy where everybody wants more than they are able to bite off. And that's where it is. Everybody is going through this thing of they wanting to be the next influencer. They wanting to be able to go out there and be rich the next day. It doesn't happen. How do you think the folks made it through the Great Depression, through all the other times of economic declines where they thrived and was able to be successful?
Are you finished?
I am.
You feel good about what you just said?
Yes.
Okay, can I tap in now? So you mentioned school and what we've learned about economics. What I remember from economics is when tariffs come into play, it is not the consumer are the ones who are absorbing the tariffs, okay? Because Trump has enacted this inflation of tariffs, the consumers are now feeling that, whether at the grocery store, at the retail store, when they're purchasing things for their livelihood. We, when I say we, whether Democrat, Independent, Republicans, or whatever, we are all feeling the pressures of Trump's tariffs in America right now. You mentioned about people wanting to be overnight celebrities or influencers. That is how people have been able to make money. That the times have changed. You say, how did people do it in the Great Depression? They had their ways of earning income. Now, because times have changed, you have millennials, Gen Zers, alphas, all those different types of age groups. They are finding ways to earn money because how they've been earning money, you have to have multiple streams of income.
Okay.
Do you have multiple streams of income?
I do.
Okay.
But because I know...
Oh, that's so hypocritical,
It's
Willie.
not, because that's what I'm going back to. I'm knowing how to survive and not depending on the government to give me some kind of subsidies to what I need to do. That's what I'm saying. We're wanting the government. This is where my problem is. The government is not our God. It's not our paycheck. We have to be able to get away from that and get back to having multiple streams. It says that in the book of Ecclesiastes. Y'all read your Bible. Environmental racism.
Jesus.
Communities of color, often black neighborhoods, face higher exposure to pollution, toxic facilities, and poor water systems. Mm-hmm. How in the name of God is black people suffering more in these areas than others if they all live in the same area?
Okay, so to be real clear before you piss me off, before we get too deep in this conversation, are you able to sit here across from me and tell me that mostly, predominantly black, low-income neighborhoods are not impacted by environmental justice?
I don't.
Do you know the definition?
Yes, I actually researched this and I saw it and I was like, I could not wait to get here because I wanted to have this discussion on why it is that everything that seems negative has to be pinned back on it's damaging black communities.
It's systemic, Willie Montague.
But
it's intentional.
Intentional
Willie
from whom?
Montague. Who do you think holds the power to do that? Mostly white folks with money. If you go back to Flint, the whole issue with Flint, Michigan, right? The water system was tanked because of the pipes. The pipes was producing lead poisoning. That was a lack of funding and a lack of intentionality in ensuring that the water system would not harm black communities. That happened in 2016. Do you realize that in 2025 of March of this year, the water system just got fixed?
Shakea,
From 2016, Willie Montague,
let me say this,
to 2025.
In all boldness, this is Michigan, correct? Okay. If you got some of these Negro pastors that would, instead of focusing on boycotting places like Target, would put their funds together and start working in these black communities, we would not have the problem. You have the Church of God in Christ that is a huge church that can be able to do their part.
So you
have Jamal Bryant, who has done two large churches.
We're not even talking about Target and the boycott. What I'm asking you and we're discussing is about environmental justice. I understand that you're saying that the pastors, it should be put on the pastors, but in the same breath, you just told me in a different topic that it should not be the government's responsibility to ensure.
Are not the government.
No. I'm telling you, this is separation of church and state right now. The church should not be responsible for the water system of a neighborhood that they did not build.
I did not say that. I'm saying
their
that
advocacy, the pastor's advocacy could talk to the legislators who are mostly white people
most of them
who
are
put
not
them over
doing
there.
that. They would rather get online and complain about it. If you know there's a problem that is historically, systemically impacting black and brown communities, why the hell are you not going out there and doing what is necessary to change change the trajectory of these communities.
I hear that, but that is not just on the onus of a pastor. That is also on the onus on the investor, the people who are building in these communities, the city councilmen who are running this area. You have activists. For example, I am from a small country town called Apopka, Florida, and I know we got to wrap. I grew up by a landfill where that landfill was full of trash, buzzards, all of the things. The people who lived in that small little area actually grew up to have cancer. Why? It was intentional. Cross the tracks, they didn't have that. Why would you put a landfill by a neighborhood?
Y'all put a pin here. We are going to come back to this conversation.
Not going to convince me.
We have to take a quick commercial break, but don't move. We'll be back discussing, have civil rights era laws ruined America, and then bringing on home with platinum and gold cards starting at $1 million. Come on, Trump, you can do your thing. We'll be right back here on Americana. Welcome back, welcome back. All right, did civil rights law go too far, or is it another political overreach? Former Trump advisor Stephen Miller ignited a firestorm by arguing that certain civil rights era laws ruined America, not because of equality, but because of how modern politicians and bureaucrats, which we know there's a lot out there, expanded those laws far beyond their original purpose. Now everyone's asking, did the laws fail, or did Democrats twist them? Did y'all twist them?
I don't know why you asking me this stupid behind question. You already know my stance on this.
You know, when I was looking into this, when it talked about conservatives are interpreting it as civil rights law, not the laws themselves, has been weaponized to push it. And I do agree with that. That a lot of these civil rights things were to bring equality to everyone, not just black and brown people. And now it's twisted, as we see with the DEI mandates, the government overreach. Now it has done a change, and now they want to use civil rights as their weapon of choice to say that we are, and I mean we as the Republican Party, is targeting the beautiful people of color.
Your party is definitely targeting people of color and women, because women are a part of that. I don't know what type of woman you want, Willie, that's going to be submissive and not vote and do all the things. You just really, we'll talk about that on a different day. But truly, you and I are benefiting from those same civil rights that were fought, that were bled, that were argued, and that some people even died for, right? So let's just ground ourselves in that. Whether or not Mr. Miller believes that the laws have changed or that politicians have used it to weaponize whatever, I think that's hogwash, simply because a lot of white people, specifically within the Republican Party, have an issue with us fighting for those civil rights to remain because of the advancement that we've had under those same laws. If you repeal those laws, you are repealing the freedom that most people say that this country is built on to advance whom? This country did not have us in mind. We came to this country as slaves. So if you remove those civil rights laws, we are now regressing what we actually progressed in.
But are we regressing? Do you really think we're regressing, or do you think that we're actually realizing that those laws may have had its moment, but now we need to be able to stay? I'm going to go back to this, Shakea. I just feel like black people take these things to such an extreme, and they create this mentality that we are always under attack. I never hear the breakthrough of like being overcomers, coming out of something, building our own, stabilizing there. But it's always, bad Republicans, orange man bad.
No, I think that narrative changed when Trump came out with the racial slur campaign that he did the first time he ran for office. I think you probably aren't around the same black people that I'm around to hear the victory stories like, girl, I just opened up my own boutique. Man, I just started my own construction company. Maybe the company that you are keeping is not informing you of the victories within the black culture. Not saying,
well, no, I
ain't trying to be low and dirty. I'm just saying there are victories.
You can invite me to that. I'm around teenagers.
You want to come to the cookout?
So I'm around teenagers.
We may have to take your black card. I don't know, Willie. We may have
to. Invite me to the cookout. I love fried chicken and watermelon.
Why would you have to say watermelon? See, this is the reason why the comments eat you up. You say stuff that's real coon-like. You the coon, I'm the goon. That's how we go. We need to rename the show.
Woo!
But anyway, Willie, I think the advancement of black people, which is what the NAACP stood for, I think if you were to ask Rosa Parks, why did she sit on the bus? Why did she refuse to give up her seat? She would tell you it was because we have equal rights in this country. She was making a statement. She was protesting. Why did the community follow behind her protest? Because they also felt the same thing. They believed in that same concept. If you were born in that era, where do you think you would be? Do you think you would be able to sit on a television show right now with me?
Yes, because I would understand how to navigate. And I think that's the reason why she was able to stand and others was able to stand. It was all about that. It wasn't everybody that was not out there in those eras that was not being able to progress. We have allowed for the stories of slave and oppression to dictate our future and our present.
No, it is not dictating. It is the foundation of how we are building upon that. If you remove the laws that our ancestors fought for, we are actually going back to even past the Jim Crow era. We are only 400 years of a civilization of a people.
I don't believe it's removing laws. It's being able to say, are we not all equal, yes or no?
Tell that to Trump.
Because it literally says that the pursuit of happiness, that all men are created equal. This is our inalienable right.
But white people did not see black folks as human.
Say it again.
Willie.
Did not see. That's past tense. This is 2025.
That was past tense. However, the actions and the comments and the narrative of mostly the MAGA folks in your Republican Party feel the same way, which is why they are saying, make America great again. In their eyes, America was great when black folks was in chains. America was great when black folks did not have access to health care or access to the voting polls.
I just don't agree with that, because I feel like what we do is we want black people to go out here and feel like, because we have more power now than we had even then. So why are we putting our mentalities back in the same chains that we said we were free from and could thrive in?
Well, tell that to the Republican Party, who is currently running this country and who wants to remove the laws that actually gave us access to have a freer life.
Well, I'll call President Trump this evening, because I don't believe that's what he stands for. Nonetheless, platinum and gold cards starting at $1 million per.
Oh, I just felt the spirit of my grandma. I just had to.
Like, child, please.
Yes.
Immigration is one of the leading focuses and targets of the Trump administration. Now, Trump has launched his platinum and gold cards for temporary or permanent residency in the United States, and I agree with it. I absolutely think this is wonderful. This is able to show what I said a couple of weeks ago, where if you don't have any value that you bring to the United States, you do not need to be here. But this is really related to businesses, by the way. These are, if you go, it's all related to who they hire and who it is that can come here to
But it's one of those tiers. I believe it's the platinum card that would allow companies to pay $15,000 and then an additional large amount of money to actually have however many employees apply for that. The gold card is even more than that. If you are coming to this country and you're fleeing from a refugee country that you were born and native to, right? And you're coming here, you may not have $15,000 in American currency to buy your freedom. So now we're monetizing
No.
off of someone's
this $15,000
interest in being a residency here?
This $15,000 is almost like a background check. And this is the companies that wanting these individuals. Like, say if a person, because this is what I researched, if a person wants to go in and they're graduating from the school and they want to work at this particular, say, a software company, and they're like, we don't know if this person is going to be worth us investing in to bring them over to get, their start to be an American citizen or green card, whatever, then they can go pay $15,000. They will go in and do all of the research that is necessary to make sure that their credentials and who they are matches what the company needs, so that it's not any wasted investment before you just make a person just become a resident or a citizen of the United States.
I hear that, and that I think that is also currently in place already. I think now Trump is exploiting immigration. I do. Because if it's not for a company who's going to pay and upfront that $15,000 or however much it is for them to be a legal citizen, if you are not coming to this country under the guise of a company, how else are you going to become a legal citizen? Do you realize yesterday a number of people who were getting ready to take the oath of becoming a legal citizen of the United States went through the entire due process? They were actually arrested by ICE. No. Answer the question. Did you know that?
I didn't realize that. But this is what we get down to, and I think that we keep making this an issue as if we don't have empathy or compassion for people who want to come to the United States.
We don't.
We do. But there's always a way to do things. And I, for one, do not believe that some people want to do it the right way.
But
I
really,
believe
you
that
can't
they're wanting
say
to
that.
just come in here and just take and suck up our resources. You just said how poor and pitiful we are in Michigan.
You just said that you want people to come over here and do what they need to do the right way. I am telling you that a number of people, I think about a dozen of people yesterday, did what you just said. And as they are having their right hand up to the Father to be sworn in as a resident of these here United States, they asses were still arrested by ICE. So where do we draw the line? Do they come over here illegally and seek asylum and stay in New York or stay in sanctuary cities? Or do they do the right thing by coming in and doing the due process and still take the risk of getting arrested?
I'm sure that if that was indeed an error, that it will be corrected. And
you and your party.
And apologies will be issued. But at the end of the day, we're talking about illegals that have come over and done the wrong thing. That are sucking up all our resources while black and brown people are suffering at the hands of the leftist rainbow hair-colored
WWJD? Do you remember that?
Yes.
What would Jesus do?
What would Willie Joshua do? That's another episode. I'm sorry, you guys. We got to go. I'm Willie.
I'm Shakea.
See y'all tomorrow.